Hi, we're going to be going over part 2 of the section called notes. In the first video, we went over how to identify and name the white notes. In the first video, I gave ways to find the names of the white notes A and C. If you haven't watched the first video, go back and watch it. But to recap from the previous video, we were finding the note A, which again, you find a cluster of 3 black notes, any of these. Go down the middle and you'll have 2 white notes, and it'll be the right white note. Down the middle, right, down the middle, right, down the middle, right. And then we found the note C. So to find the C, you find a cluster of 2 black notes anywhere on here, and you go left one with the left black note, and then you go left once and you will have C. So you got C here, 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 and here. Now this video will be going over the black notes. The black notes names are derived from the white notes, and because of that, the black notes have 2 names, and because of that, they are called enharmonic notes. Enharmonic meaning, like, if you write it out in music, this has, it can be written 2 ways, and we'll get to that later on. But I want to introduce the concept of intervals. In order to get the names of these black notes, there's some terminology I must go over first. First thing I want to talk about here is half steps and whole steps. Half steps and whole steps, simply put, define the space from one note to the next. Now, a half step is the next adjacent note, up or down. So it's the next note, up or down. So I'll give you 2 examples for half steps. So B to C is a half step. So the ways that I've shown you so far, find a cluster of 2, left one, C, and it goes A through G, so this is B. So from here to here is a half step, because the next note after B is C. And the second example I want to show you is from E to F. So we got cluster 2, left 1, C, D, E. We got E to F. See how this is the next note? So from here to here is a half step. A whole step is 2 half steps up or down the piano. So from C to D is a whole step. We say, why is that? Because the next adjacent note would be this note. So next adjacent, so here's 1 half step, here's 2 half steps. So from here to here is a whole step. And from D to E is a whole step, because you got the next one after D, a half step up would be this note. And another half step from here to here would be this note. So you have 2 half steps. So from D to E is a whole step. From F to G is a whole step, from here to here, because this middle note, 1 half step, 2 half steps, from here to here. And from G to A is a whole step, because you have this G, a half step from here is this note. Half step from here is here. So you have two half steps from here, which equals a whole step. So from G to A is a whole step. In the last example I want to give you, the fifth example, is from A to B. So here's the next adjacent note, half step, which would this be that note, and then another half step would be this note. So two half steps would be a whole step. So from here, A to B is a whole step. Now I want you to study this a bit to get comfortable up and down the piano with half step and whole steps. These terms are important for creating what we talk about in a later video called scales, and it is important for describing how the black notes get their two names, where they get their two names from. There are two other terms I want to go over as well, sharps and flats. Sharps raise / go up a one semitone or half step. So I'll give you two examples for this. So this is how we get the names of these all these black notes up here. Example, find C, cluster of two, left one of that. So go up one half step, which is the very next note. And this note is called C. They get it from C here, sharp. C sharp. Because you're going up a half step. Another example would be to find, A, cluster of three, middle, and out of these two middle ones, you pick right. That's A. So go up a one half step. This black note is called A sharp. So you've got C sharp, A sharp. Now the second term is, it's called flats. Flats lower or go down one semitone or one half step. So I'll give you two examples of this. So we'll find E. We'll find this, two clusters of two. We got C, D, E. And then we go down one half step. So the next note across from it is this note. So we went down a half step. This black note is called E flat. Find G. We got two black notes, left one, C, D, E, F, G. Go down a half step, which would be this note. And this black note is called, G flat. There we go. And like I said before, these black notes are enharmonic notes and have two names. If we look at the note one half step above C, so we got find a cluster of two, left one, C. It can be called C sharp because we're going up a half step, or it can be called D flat. C sharp, D flat. It's the same note, but it can be written two different ways within musical context. If we look at the note one half step above F, So come down 2, left 1, C, D, E, F. F, go up half step, which would be the black note. It has 2 names. It can be called F sharp or G flat. F sharp, G flat. That's why it's enharmonic note, because it can be, again, it can be wrote 2 different names. Now that we have done a refresher of how to find white notes, and again, if you're struggling with the white notes, go back to my first video where I talk specifically about how to find white notes and stuff in that nature. You know, you can move on to this video where we talk about intervals, which in the 2 terms for those intervals would be half steps. You know, from here to here, 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 here to here. Those are half steps. The next adjacent notes. And then we have whole steps. So instead of going from here to here, you go from here to here. You got a middle note in between. From here to here is a whole step. From here to here is a whole step. Here to here, whole step. Here to here, whole step. Here to here, whole step. And then from here, skip that note. Here, whole step. And so forth. We've gone over half steps and whole steps, briefly stating that these intervals will be used to form scales. We've defined sharps and flats, describing example of enharmonic notes. I will now go through and name each of the black notes. 1 octave, since like they repeat. So we have this first black note. Well, let me start with middle C actually. This first black note, it can be called C sharp, D flat. That's the first one. Second one, D sharp, E flat. Third one that we see, F sharp, G flat. Fourth one we see, G sharp, A flat. And the final one that we see is A sharp, B flat. And then as you can tell, it repeats. Be sure to study this video before moving on to the new section called scales. If you're still struggling with finding the white notes, be sure to study my first video and get caught up before watching this video. And again, this is part 2 of the section called notes, and my next will be the major scale. Stay tuned for more content. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask me. I hope this saves you money and time, and you're able to advance your piano skills. God bless.